Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What's happening, family? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. On today's conversation, I'm honored to have on not one, but two guests. I have Miss Hailey Dollar. She is the Libertarian candidate running for the Virginia's 3rd Congressional District. So I'm excited to have a conversation with her in regards to her campaign. But she's bringing in a special guest. See, this is the first. I have guests bringing in guests, and I'm so excited because at the end of the day, you know how big I am about conversation. Also, just sharing the great stuff that happens in the local communities, because I tell folks all the time, look, we can always focus on stuff that's happening nationwide, but we sometimes skip over things that's going on in our own backyard. So I'm excited to have on Miss Amber Love. She is a community activist with a amazing story. Amber Love of Amber Love Ministry. So I'm excited to have her on. We're gonna have a conversation with her before we get to talking with Miss Dollar in regards to her campaign. So as always, my friends, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for chiming to the Arrington Gavin Show. As you know, we're growing each and every day. For those who are watching us right now on YouTube, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with family. I truly appreciate it. As you know, our subscribers are growing each and every day, as well as our views, and we want to keep that momentum going. So and as you all know, we just exceeded 500 episodes, and it seems like it went by so fast because it's whenever they say, you know, stuff goes by so fast when you're having fun. And I'm like, damn, we're already at 500. Okay, never mind. So let's go ahead and keep it moving from there. In addition to watching us on YouTube, you can also check us out on the Goatverse TV app. Ways you can check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show is simply by downloading the Goatverse TV app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. And then, of course, you can listen to us on the go, wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's iHeart, Spotify, Apple, just to name a few. We drop new episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In addition to those platforms, you can also listen to the program on the radio airwaves. Shout out to some of our radio affiliates like WBOK 1230 AM out in New Orleans. You can chime into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, that's only on WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about. Then we're going to head over to the Metro Atlanta area to WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. You can chime into the convo weeknights at 11 p.m. That's right, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. So multiple ways you can tune into the show. So there's no excuse. You say, Aaron, I don't want a platform. No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. We're everywhere, y'all. And we're growing. So we got some big news that we're going to be sharing a little later. It'll be a few shows, further out, but I'm excited because we're in conversation with other outlets as well. Just continue to grow the audience. So, as I mentioned, that what we're going to do, my friends, we are going to have a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not go anywhere, and please do not change that dial.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. and we're going to bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome now.
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, this that new Gold Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
6'10", number one pick, 16 seasons, college player of the year, all-rookie standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolved. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care. All right, family, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. I'm your homie, your friend. All the good stuff. I want to, I hope I'm not like your enemy. I hope I'm your friend. Welcome back to the show. As I mentioned, I'm honored to have on two amazing guests. I'll bring on our first guest, Miss Hailey Dollar. She is the Libertarian candidate for running for the 3rd Congressional District in the state of Virginia. Hailey, how you doing, my friend? It's great to be talking with you again.
I am doing great. It is a beautiful day here in Virginia, even though the weather can never make up its mind. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I saw recently we got snow coming. So
I hope not. You know what? As a kid, it's funny you brought that up, because as a kid, I was always like sad to say, like, I don't know how to experience a white Christmas. We never had snow during the time when we needed to have snow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have all my family, most of my family are New Yorkers. I'm the one that was born and raised here in Chesapeake, and I'm just like, snow. We never get snow. And now when we do get it, I don't want it to come no more. Like I experienced it. I'm like, no, I don't like having snow. I don't like having snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, look, you are a very busy individual. Okay, so the last time I had a conversation with you, myself, my good friend Conrad Shezventer, who's the host of a political YouTube show called Shez Who, he had made the made the connection, made the referral, and we both were we were all talking in regards. I think it was like a election night theme show, I believe, and
Yes.
I remember the name because you had ran for office. I believe it was for House of Delegates. It was
House of Delegates. Yeah, for the 70th
yeah.
district. Yes.
Yeah. So the name was familiar, and just having the conversation on the program, I'm like, wow, I need to have more conversations with her, because she's all. I mean, I just really enjoyed the convo, and just again, excited to have you on. I follow you, so I know you made the mention that you'll be running for office. But before we get to discussing your campaign, in addition to that, you do a lot of other things too in the area. If you don't mind sharing some of those things, because you have a special guest on that also is involved in community work that you do.
Yes. And I want to just make this statement moving forward that anytime during the next campaign year that I'm asked to do any interviews for any reason regarding my campaign, my diva demand, because as we know, the great Mariah Carey and the divas of today, Celine Dion, they always have a list of demands.
Mhm.
And the top of my list is that anytime that I'm interviewed, I have at least 10 minutes minimum of my time that is donated to a local cause, charity, or people that are just doing work in the community, that what they're doing is so amazing, it needs to be highlighted. Because like you said, I need to be like, I met her and gosh, she's pretty fun. Like, and that's how it is. I love connecting good people with good people and resources. And throughout the years, I published a book, gosh, so long ago. And one of the biggest critiques that I got was not everyone could connect with my story. And I got this idea running this nonprofit. It was for suicide prevention. It was called My Mentor Rocks, that I wanted to collect a number of interesting people. And for the longest time, they blogged, and it was like they had very unique things that they were up to. And even if it was just sharing recipes or sharing YouTube videos, it was something that people could connect with to inspire them that, there's other people out there like me that are going things, that are experiencing things. And, I can go on another day. And Amber Love is someone that I met last year doing volunteer work in anti-human trafficking efforts. And it was so interesting because the person that brought us together was the one that like solidified this amazing sisterhood and just, roundhouse of volunteering and awareness. And she is constantly teaching me something new every day. She is a survivor leader. She is a major advocate in the Hampton Roads area. She is a published author and just overall one of the realest people I've ever met. And her story is just incredible. And for someone like me, I know there's probably a lot of people watching this, and I loved what you said at the end. I hope none of y'all are my enemies, but what is driving me into this next race is the enemies that I made in my last race for the House of Delegates. They were the ones that inspired this, and they continue to inspire me. So anyways, without further ado, I would like to bring Amber on so we can highlight, what she's up to, what she's doing. If there's any causes that need our attention and support, just, take it away, Amber. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Ladies and gents, Miss Amber Love. Amber, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out your schedule for Amber and coming on.
Thank you so much. And Hailey, your words are so
Oh no, it froze.
Oh, I think we're hold on. We're having a little technical difficulties with
Oh no.
Amber's side. Uh-oh.
You know what probably happened with the iPhone? Somebody probably called. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, probably. Hold on. We're gonna see if Amber, if Amber can hear us, if she can just chime back in on that link. Yeah, she is froze, but it's no worries at all. Let me go ahead and let's go. And she's right there. We're gonna keep her backstage, but I think she's back with us. Hold on. There we go.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what point I got cut out, but I just wanted to say thank you, Hailey, for your kind words. You're always such an encouragement to everyone that you meet, regardless of where they are at in life. And that's one of the things that that's always drawn me to you. So thank you.
Anytime, girl.
So Amber, I mean, again, Hailey had mentioned, wonderful words about you. If you don't mind just sharing to the audience, again, if you mind sharing, your story with us.
Well, we have 10 minutes, so I will give you basically the summarization of what I can say is that there are so many people, everybody goes through something in life, some less than others, but everybody's impacted by the circumstances they're born into, and just the people that we meet along the way that don't have good intentions for humanity. So not only, yes, I did survive sex trafficking as an 18-year-old, but I was also adopted out of foster care. I experienced abuse as a child. I went through a religious cult to recover from methamphetamines at 19. I didn't know it was a cult at the time. It was a rehab, but I was there for 4 years. It was very spiritually abusive. And because of those unhealed traumas, and because we didn't have terms like sex trafficking and things like that to kind of help identify what people's traumas are as the symptom, addiction is the symptom, then I just kind of went about life drowning, trying to fix myself without any real compass in life. And it later led me into a lot of broken decision making, led me into continuous sexual assaults into my adult years. And then finally at my breaking point, just a full on sexual addiction that I am 3.5 years free of. And I'm very bold about it. I know it's, sometimes a taboo thing when the world is saying, sleep with who you want and do all this. And, it doesn't matter. No, for me, it was slavery. And because I was able to come out of that and be set free, not just from the removal of my circumstances, but spiritually, I feel like I have a responsibility to go back and get other people and show them a different way of living, a different way to heal. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just building different projects around the area.
That is awesome. For one, I mean, thank you so much for, again, being so brave to share your story. Cause I mean, the things that occurred in your life, I know it's work to share it publicly. Right. And then you're advocating. So you're continuing to speak about it, but you use that to help those in need. Because for one, in Hampton, well, I'll just say here in the local community, we rarely hear, at least, and I'm just speaking like on our local news circuit, we don't hear a lot about human trafficking. We really don't. I pulled up a case. Well, I pulled up the rising of, I think in 2024, it says the rising identification cases had risen. The National Human Trafficking Hotline received 661 tips from Virginia, resulting in around 228 identified trafficking cases, involved 342, with at least 111 those cases involve sex trafficking. This is stuff that we don't hear a lot on the low, and not trying to attack the local news. I have a lot of friends that work in the local news, but it's unfortunate because if the public doesn't hear about this, how would we, you know what I mean? And it's sometimes, for the longest, folks didn't even know if they were being trafficked. Like it's a lot. I know, and I I hope I'm not kind of like skipping around it, because this is the first that I've talked about this.
Listen, it's a multi days conversation. All the key points that you're talking about, all I'm thinking about is, those numbers are just what's reported. That's not the children that are being trafficked in the homes by their parents. That is, there's so much more. And what actually communities are being fed is a lot from Hollywood. And yes, they're great movies for entertainment, but when you survived it, it's not very entertaining. And then what you see is you're making this an overseas issues versus my next door neighbor issue. Versus the girls on the street. We want to call them prostitutes, not women who've been coerced, tricked, forced into sex slavery and doing these things and made to make it look like it's a choice, brainwashed for it to be a choice. I currently work for the city of Virginia Beach as a peer support specialist, and unrelated to sex trafficking, I was still able to identify a victim, a minor, and coordinate different communities together and get her to a safe house, including the transportation of it, which for me felt like the most Harriet Tubman thing I could have ever done in my entire life. So I'm like, I've arrived. But it's our children, and traffickers look for vulnerabilities. And those are often found in broken homes. And if you want another statistic, the African-American community, African-American girls are the number one targeted group of people, the children. So that's something that those communities need to be talking about. And that is actually what I'm trying to do. The community that I am really focused on, I don't know if you know about South Norfolk.
I'm familiar with the area, yes.
Are you familiar? Okay. Well, I had, when I moved out here, I moved to that area sight unseen. I was the only white person in the only nice house on the street. And I was like, oh, we messed up. Like, Yeah, true to myself. I quickly made sure that my neighbors felt comfortable and became friendly and stuff like that. But years later, I encountered a woman who had severe mental health issues. And spiritually speaking, this is a controversial show, so I feel like I'm just going to come on and say the things that I know. She was possessed and she manifested in front of me. And it was the first time I had really seen like a full-on manifestation happening in somebody. And I had to leave because I was like, I said her name. I said, I am not equipped for this right now. Can I leave and come back and bring some friends? And she said in her out of character Jamaican accent, who do you get your authority from? And I told her, I come in the name of Jesus Christ. And she bowed and moved her arm and stepped out of the doorway and let me leave. I get to my car and I just look at her and I was like, God, how many people are struggling and suffering like this? And we don't know because it's not on our way to Starbucks. Like nobody's going to South Norfolk for anything unless you live there. And so it really stayed on my heart for several years. And recently I was going from church to church. I didn't really have a home church, but I was looking for a safe place to send people when I do outreach, trying to just love people so much until they ask me why. Why are you here, woman? And so, but I needed a place to send them. And so I found this church, Burning Bush Worship Center. I didn't know if anybody was there, but they had this, they're online as Recovery Church, and really it hadn't even started. They just, had hopes to do that. And what has happened after meeting that pastor or Reverend Robert Green and their community, they've asked me to lead that project. So I will be leading the building of the Recovery Church movement in South Norfolk. We will be doing outreach on the streets. They also have a food bank. So we'll be making sure people get food, building relationships with them, inviting them into community. And then my background has been really in social work, networking, making connections with people. So I'm the person that's like, I know a guy. And if I don't know a guy, I know a guy who knows a guy. And so connecting people to the things that maybe they don't even know are available to them. And then also I'm hoping to put on really special events for women who I am able to identify as trafficking, the children, doing special events to just really shower them with love, serve them. I have a couple different models that I'm looking at for how we might do that. And it's still growing, so that's kind of where my heart is. It's for the people of South Norfolk.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. I have two quick questions, and then I mentioned in the beginning, I'm like, I have two quick questions. And then I'm gonna we truly enjoy. You have to come back for one because I feel like we're gonna be spending probably a part one and part two just talking with you here on our program.
I would love to.
I wanted to ask, how is the reward for you? You kind of answered my question earlier when you said this is your Harriet Tubman moment. But like, how really is the reward for you when you've known that, wow, I just, again, I've prevented or I've helped somebody that could have had a worse outcome if it wasn't for, again, hey, what happened to me, I'm using that to advocate and prevent the worst from happening to someone else. So how's that reward for you?
I think I have very private moments of complete gratitude and praise for God, because I would not be in those places. He could not send me there if when I made my bed in hell, he didn't meet me there and pull me out. And that journey, that deliverance time from that slavery of my life was difficult. It was dark. It was ugly. I lost lots of relationships, including a marriage, because it was just, there was so much pain that had to come out. And so when I get to touch a life and touch a soul, even if it doesn't end the way I want, but I get to speak life over them, get to tell them that they were created with purpose, that they were not a mistake. I really am humbled. As a young girl, I told my mom that I wanted to be a Harriet Tubman for my generation, but all the bad things had already happened. And not understanding that in order to be a Harriet Tubman, I would have to know slavery. I would have to fight for my freedom. And then I would live in it for a while until I realized it wasn't enough. And I had to go back and get the others at the risk of my own life. And I kind of joke with people and say, I don't know how I'm risking my life as I'm filing for my concealed carry to provide transportation to survivors fleeing their situation or even going out into the streets. My pastor said, yeah, let's be smart about this, like know our community. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Well, look, I truly am again, I'll grab your information from Hailey after this because I truly want to continue this conversation, and also to just shout out all of the heroes, I would say, in South Norfolk, because I'm born and raised in Chesapeake. Now I'm from my district was Hickory High School, so I was from another side, but I do a lot of community work in South Norfolk. Shout out to Bethany Baptist Church. I'm good friends with Pastor Kaysen out there off of in the South Norfolk area. And I mean, again, you have so many great folks in that area because, and this is a whole nother conversation, but I've always advocated for South Norfolk. I feel as though sometimes they're a little overlooked by the city, but again, that's a whole nother conversation. Whole nother conversation. But before you go, I do how can folks continue to just support, follow you, and all that wonderful stuff?
Well, they can go to my website. There it is, amberloveministries.com. I kind of did that as a ode to Joyce Meyer's ministries because her books really helped me. And so you can email me there. You can go to my Instagram, which is Amber N Love. And you can follow me on there. That one's not super professional and like all done up for what we're going to do with Recovery Church, but there will be updates there. Check out my podcast. We just had an amazing guest a 2-time attempted murderer who became a pastor, and he explains how God walked him out of that and brought him to that place. So it's an amazing episode. Hire me to speak, hire me to train. Reach out if you're in need, if you know somebody who you think is potentially being trafficked. You can always download Simply Report, which is an app put out by Safe House Project, who is one of my partners, ministry partners. And you can use that app. You can report directly from there. It's anonymous. So if you're concerned about somebody knowing that you called out your cousin or your uncle or whoever, none of that is reported. It's completely safe.
Awesome. Well, Miss Love, look, I feel like our audience is in the name. We truly love you. So please continue to. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
Can I close out one thing? Mm-hmm. If you want to know how I got my last name, because it was not my birth name, my adopted name, my 2 married names, how I became Amber Love, you can email me for a copy of my book, Before She Knew Jesus. It is a co-authored women's devotional, and I hold nothing back in talking about what I came out of, but there's so much hope in there. So I'd love for you to email me, and I'll personally mail you a copy with my signature.
Awesome. I will hold you up on that one, Amber. Look, it has been an honor to speak with you, and please do not be a stranger. We're going to work something to get you back on the program. So I thank you so much. And thank you, Hailey, for bringing this lovely individual to our program. Amber, you have a wonderful evening, and we will be talking to you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, my friend. Well, look, my friends, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have some more with Miss Hailey Dollar. How you doing there, Hailey?
Doing great. I love it when I get to boost my friends and their amazing missions. That's what all of this should be about,
Absolutely.
And we'll talk more. Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick commercial break. Just a short, quick break, y'all. You're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not change that dial. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Let me tell you something most people get wrong about suits. A suit isn't just about you wearing it. It's how you show the world who you are. It's your handshake before you say a word, your presence when you step into any room. That's why we design statements at Dapper Luke. We don't just make suits. We'll start with the fabrics that tell your story, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blend sourced from the finest mills in Italy, the UK, and India. Then we'll combine that with your vision, your personality, and your style. Every detail is tailored to you, from the fit to the finish. Whether for your wedding, a gala, the boardroom, we specialize in creating custom suits that are unique, just like the men who wear them. We spent years perfecting this craft, apprenticing under designers in New York and showcasing collections in New York and for Baltimore Fashion Week. None of that matters as much as seeing the look on your face when you try on your custom suit. Over 900 clients have already trusted us to deliver the best custom suits. They trust me to deliver the confidence. We proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore and would be honored to bring your vision to life next. Let's create something unforgettable. Book your free consultation today at www.dapperluke.com.
All right, my friends. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. As I mentioned, I hope y'all enjoyed that wonderful conversation with Ms. Amber Love. She will definitely be back to continue on that conversation. You know how passionate I am when it comes to just community activism. It's extremely important. I feel as though sometimes we need to praise more our community leaders and activists than we do sometimes elected officials. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, I'm here talking with my friend, Miss Hailey Dollar. She is running for Virginia's 3rd Congressional District. She's a Libertarian candidate. Now, just a quick info on the or history of Virginia's 3rd Congressional District. That covers, let's see, it serves Norfolk, Virginia, Newport News, Hampton, Portsmouth, and parts of Chesapeake. Now it's currently led by Democratic Congressman Bobby Scott, who has been serving the 3rd Congressional District since 1993. So that goes into the first question I would like to ask Miss Hailey. Hailey, I mentioned earlier, you took a run at House of Delegates. Why congressional, right? Okay, why you moved up higher, but not only are you're running against an individual who's a pretty heavy hitter, in the world, who he's had that position since 93. What's the reason for you to run for what are your reasons for running for the 3rd Congressional District?
Well, when you refer to Bobby Scott as a heavy hitter, well, maybe I can take a couple of punches. So
Ooh, okay, I see you, Haley. So, but seriously, like, what made you, for one, in general, want to run for public office? Because that's one question I always ask folks, especially folks that has never had any political what's the word I'm looking for? Experience, right? Mm-hmm. Political experience in the past. Now you have a great resume. You served our country, so I want to thank you for your service. In addition to that, you are a advocate, as I mentioned, human trafficking survivor. You hold a lot of titles. Mm-hmm. Why pursue this new journey and run for public office, which is it's a field that everybody's like, ugh, what the hell are you thinking? Like, ugh, why would we want to do that? So if you don't mind sharing with the audience, what's your reasons?
Well, when I first attended a meeting, it was like the Super 7 junior delegates last year. I was there networking through a nonprofit that I used to volunteer with that actually connected Amber and I. So shout out to them. But anyways, so I was volunteering and I went to this presentation and they couldn't even figure out how to run a PowerPoint, the AV systems, none of it. And for a moment, I sat back and thought, I could do this and joked about it. And then I continued to volunteer and network. And I was approached by Delegate AC Cordoza and asked to run in Newport News. He saw me as, an exceptional candidate for that district. And I jumped right in. I thought, I've never done that before. Why not? And some of the best avenues in my life have been when an opportunity presents itself, even if it's something that you know very little about, with minimal research, you can find out that these things are a lot more accessible. And without running, without having that experience, I wouldn't have the foundation for what I'm trying to do. Well, not what I'm trying to do, what we're doing this year. And I was approached by the Libertarian Party before the year was out last year. And they asked if I'd be interested in running for Congress. And I said, yeah, let's chat about it. Let's discuss it. And those brief conversations became a whole movement. And I'm just very excited to have this opportunity to, number one, raise awareness about what I believe in when it comes to our community causes and things, because that's what's going to fix our districts, not just my district, but other districts. We are so torn apart, disjointed, whether it's things that are coming down from federal that are, terrifying everyone, whether it's the things that are simply on the state level. There is so much going on right now. And I just want to be a buffer for the people in between all of that, to calm the storm as much as it can be calmed, and to really give a voice to the real people, not to the high tier donors. They deserve a voice too, but I feel like in my experience last year, the only voices that were being heard were those that were spending the most amounts of money, or those that were perceived as having the most influence. A nonprofit that I volunteered for, actually, for many months, took me out of their organization because a few of their donors saw me as being too edgy. And when they saw that I was running for office and they had a problem with a few of my positions, they said, well, you can't work for us anymore because people won't donate. And that, and that was wild to me. Telling an Army combat veteran, a survivor of human trafficking, that's teaching nurses locally here in Newport News the signs of human trafficking and what to look out for in patient care. But, I can no longer serve your best interest because Susan from out in Pocosin doesn't like how I look, that I have tattoos, and apparently I'm the Antichrist and a witch. So, and I know it's silly and it sounds silly, but these are very real conversations that are being had behind the scenes, to the point where a previous opponent of mine is aggressively trying to drum up support for the Republicans to run someone against me because she has such a problem with me. And I think in one of her most recent Facebook posts that was shared with me, because I think it's all immature, but this is what people really try to gear voters towards. Their whole reason in primarying someone against me, allegedly, is because of my support for Black Lives Matter locally, the local chapter, and the charity work that I do with them, and the support that I give them. And so I was told about a month ago that the reason why I was primaried, allegedly, is because they could not have a candidate that aligned themselves in any way with Black Lives Matter. And that was so wild to me, because my alignment was doing walks for suicide prevention, donations for the local day center for the unhoused. We collected, oh my gosh, bins upon bins upon bins of clothing for women, men, children, blankets. And Jafari and he's the president of the local chapter. He's such a fun person. And it's funny because he's a very also controversial individual in some circles. And what I always say when people come to me and they want to have a problem with him, I'm like, he's extra. What do you want? Like that, they're one of my extra friends. So, proceed accordingly. But, every experience I've had with them, we've been cooking for the community. We went and handed out, gosh, like hundreds of plates. I can't even think of how many. I cooked all day, for the community with many other lovely ladies in the church that allowed us to use their kitchen. Like, I've cooked with them for the community. I've clothed, and that's what's crazy too, because everything comes full circle. When we were handing out these plates in Newport News, one of the women that we had given, clothes to remembered me and came up to me and just hugged me so hard. And it came to me, and I remembered the jacket, because I went through every piece of clothing, because when people donate things, I wash them. I make sure. Yeah. So I inventory everything, and we sort things by size, by, perceived gender. So it makes it easier when they, go through the closets. And what Jafari and I will do too, is a step ahead of all of that, is we found out, when we initially went to go do a donation, it was right about the time that they start moving these people, because they don't keep them overnight. They are bused to churches where if they meet certain criteria, they can stay overnight.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
there's
true.
lots of restrictions there. So when we couldn't drop everything off because they're like, we stopped taking donations at this time because we're doing transport. And we were like, okay, well, where are they going? And we just went to the church, opened up the back of my truck, and started handing out everything that they wanted. So they got first choice. And then the remainder we took next day and donated to the closet. So we started as we did these drives, we would figure out the location where these people would be staying for the night, give them, first dibs on literally anything that they need. And then the remainder we donate. And it's a beautiful method and model. And we're currently collecting coats, and we're going to be doing another drop off soon. I believe that Jafari has organized a march for Martin Luther King Day, and we will be collecting clothes, clothing items, gently used, new.
That's one thing, Hailey. I will definitely say our audience sees, you have a servant's heart. That's one thing. There's no doubts about. You mentioned something in the beginning where you were judged on your appearance from a previous, I believe, party, and the interesting thing is what I was hearing. They say you were edgy, but I would just say you were relatable to the public, which can be could be a helpful tool for you as a candidate, because in current time, in today's day and age with politics, we don't want and I'm not saying we as in me, but I'm just saying the majority of folks that you will come across just in everyday life, they don't want the same old kind of politician. They do want somebody that is more relatable, because exactly the issues that are happening within the community. And so it's very sad, but let's just be, we know like the two-party system is very broken. I'm an independent. I've always been very independent with my views. I have liberal views, I have conservative views. I've always just been a middle person. That being said, I always believe in bipartisanship, but we do have kind of like one side says, ooh, yeah, too much tattoos to be over here, or ooh, you have too much to be on this side. It's very wild, because you also are an advocate for a Second Amendment advocate. If I can share, could I put you in that title, a Second Amendment advocate?
Yeah, I am by day trade a firearms dealer. I work at York Pawn and Gun, and we do loans on firearms and a number of items, but that was never a role I saw myself in. I worked as a firearms instructor for the Army.
Let me rephrase that.
Oh, hold on. It's coming in broken.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, you were coming in jumbled. So just repeat the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying you are a supporter of the Second Amendment. So in this system today, you have, say, one side that is kind of you're a little too too much as far as in our side, and then you're because you have tattoos, like that's not what the public is when it comes to politics, right? They're pushing, doing work instead. Go, we don't have a place for you here. So I just wanted to point that out, because you mentioned they said you were too edgy, and I'm like, edgy, okay.
Well, and it's not even just about the appearance. It's because I worked in the entertainment industry for many years as a model, as a feature entertainer, and I feel like anyone that is very, there's very different definitions of being conservative, whether it's dress, whether it's how you carry yourself. But, it's almost like anything that I can do or that I've done, they construe as porn. And immediately they're just like, no, and I found that so fascinating, because even other women have come out, especially survivors, in saying that, the modeling that they've done, even if they've done acting or things like that, that it's empowering for them to a degree, because they feel like they're owning it. And that's like a healing thing that Amber can talk about as well. But, I'm not ashamed of anything that I've done in my past, because it has brought me closer to so many people that needed help. It's given me a better understanding of the human condition. And we're going to get back to Second A. And I want to just say that I could not hear half of what you were saying. But what I will say when it comes to my support of, firearms rights, I believe in responsible gun ownership. I believe in accountability. And I want to ensure that anyone that feels that they need protection to that degree, as long as, they're legally able to by the state and federal's definition, that they have access to that. The majority of women that I have seen lately buying firearms are actually in an older age group. And it's wild. The majority of women I see coming into my store are being dragged in by their fathers, their boyfriends, their brothers, because men are starting to recognize that the environment that we live in now is not completely safe. And if they feel that they need to arm themselves, if they're that concerned, they need to arm their significant others. And you can feel it in the air. I mean, and speaking on policies regarding that, it was just, shared that there's going to be a lot of federal budget cuts for mental health services and addiction services and recovery services, excuse me. And I foresee that becoming a huge issue as well, because if we look at, I think it was like 2,500 programs getting shut down. I don't know how many people that will directly impact, but
oh yeah, what's happening in Washington? I mean, it's everything that it's funny because my audience knows that I'm not the biggest fan of this administration. So and that's a whole nother story. But you're right. A lot of programs that have been beneficial for really for all communities. And that's the interesting thing. You have programs that have been beneficial to folks that are probably, voters from all sides of the aisle. And now that's what's raising even more turmoil in the communities. But I want to talk about some more on your campaign, Hailey. What are some key issues that your campaign is going to be fighting for during this journey?
So when it comes to the libertarian point of view, where, less government, more community, more support. So just the biggest issues that I see and projecting, and that's why I made that point about those programs being cut. If we limit people and they don't have access to things, we're going to foresee a number of issues moving forward. So I'm not even thinking about within the next year. I'm projecting within the next 4 or 5 years. Access to healthcare is everything. Affordable healthcare. Going into the veterans argument, disabled veterans, their family members, active duty members, everyone across the board, protect them, protect their current benefits. Fight for what you're entitled to, especially when it comes to other things that have happened within the last few months regarding certain service members, retirement benefits being cut after serving 15 to 20 years because of their gender identity. I have a huge problem with that. If you do your time, you should get your benefits.
Absolutely.
Supporting a number of causes to continue pushing forward with human trafficking efforts. That's something that, like you said, isn't covered very often. And I think it's because it's a dirty subject. It's perceived as that, and people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to believe, like as Amber said, that generally it's not an overseas issue. It's someone in your direct proximity, which was my case.
And I didn't mean to cut you off. It's a big issue on a national level right now. Obviously, we know, and not trying to, have this kind of, take over our conversation we're having about your campaign, but the whole Epstein, list thing, like that's like the most talked about issue right now. And again, why isn't that? It is a list. Why has it not been shared mostly? Because I mean, you got folks that are, like, as you mentioned, it's not overseas. This is happening in our backyard. This is happening in the States, and it's unfortunate. And more will continue to surface out and be put out there. But it's a sad time. That's all I can always fit. It's a sad time.
So there we go. I fully support the Epstein files being published.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there should be any redactions. I don't understand why I know they're meant to protect certain people.
Mm-hmm.
The victims, of course, deserve that respect. But when it comes to these abusers, when it comes to these traffickers, I think that it's gone on way too long and there's really no excuse for it. So
It's just it really continues to just blow my mind when it comes to public safety, right? When it comes to public safety in your district, how big of an issue that is that for you and your in your campaign? How would you tackle that issue in your district?
So it is a very complex issue.
Mm-hmm.
Feeds into mental health, the homelessness portion there, responsible gun ownership, which all feeds into, and a lot of people say, defund the police. I personally work with a retired police chief, current law enforcement, retired 20-year guys. And they will be the first to acknowledge that they've been in proximity with people that probably shouldn't have been officers, right? I think we need to take care of them, provide them with better training that is geared towards the greatest needs in the community, which we see a ton of mental health calls. And they say gun violence is down, but I find that hard to believe because literally, I think it was like less than 30 days ago, someone died at Popeyes over there in Newport News. And there was another,
when you say gun violence, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt. When you say gun violence down, you mean specifically in the city of Newport News, not the full district. You're saying specifically Newport News?
Yes, like specifically Newport News, but of course it's prevalent in Norfolk, and you see it in more heavily populated areas. We still see this out in the rural districts and things like that. However, there's so much that we can't tackle within the next 10 minutes. But what it leads to is that we have a killer budget in Virginia. There is so much waste. There is just so much that could be diverted directly into these communities, into existing programs, minimal effort spent revamping, current programs that may have worked 10, 20, 30 years ago and they're outdated. Just streamlining everything we currently have, cutting away what is not serving us as a community, as a district, and just doing the work. I feel like that should be the easiest campaign promise, is that I will show up and I will do the work, and I'll actually talk to you. I don't care if you disagree with me. If you think you hate my guts, come and meet me. Chat with me for 5 minutes. If you still hate me, go vote accordingly. But actually get to know me as a person, as a candidate. I'm not a puppet. I'm not someone that I have a chair telling me everything to say and do and how to dress. Like, this is who I am. And I feel that in coming out into the community in the next few weeks and months, I'm going everywhere and I'm just popping up. So, be surprised. You never know, Arrington. I might show up at your house.
You just might. I'll be like, Hailey, what are you doing here? But quick question I want to ask you before we end this. I do want to take the time to mention how folks can continue to follow up and support your campaign and stuff for those that are interested. When it comes to school safety, so now you mentioned Newport News. Now we all know the tragic story that happened some years, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years back in Newport News. How would you tackle safety in your schools, in your local schools?
So it's very interesting. I was watching a documentary on school safety and shootings, and it made me want to throw up. So, fun fact, I have a master's of science in emergency and disaster management with a concentration on homeland security. And so I know
it's a long title, by the way, but that's official right there.
Yeah, but hint in there, emergency and disaster management, right? And I was a combat medic in the Army. I've done combat casualty care, in a foreign country. So I feel that in the Army, with the people that I was deployed with, many amazing people. Shout out to my good friend, Kevin Garcia. I have to do it, sorry. But if we could run an operation so efficiently through, continued education efforts, through minimal security checks, and like, it's just about streamlining awareness, if you see things, how to react. And I feel like the representation, and I've been following that court case quite closely. Also, fun fact, I'm a current student at William & Mary studying for a master's of law. So I've been following this case essentially ever since it came out. And through the facts that were presented, what it was that certain things were being heavily ignored and put off. And when I put myself in, because that's what I try to do in these situations, it's really easy to think, oh, well, this is what I would have done. This is what I would have said. I can't believe they didn't do that. But instead of standing in their shoes, I try to get into people's heads. And in my last run, speaking with teachers, administrators, students, substitute teachers, they were, a great group of young girls that were telling me all about how excited they were to start teaching. And then that joy ended very quickly. And it's because our schools right now are completely overburdened. Teachers are definitely not getting paid enough. And like, it's easy to fix. Right now, if we pumped more money into our schools, into these teachers, we could hire more quality educators, not just people that are there to collect a check, people that are passionate about it. We need to have more specialized training and programs for these teachers, to help them deal with students that can be high stress, high energy, some that have, just different disabilities, how to accommodate, have more, support in the classroom. And that's not even from a security standpoint, but it is at the same time, because if you have that support and the ability to meet these students on their levels, then you're likely to have less incidences of violence. And that's where these failures was this teacher, was threatened multiple times. It wasn't taken seriously. And then look at what happened.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading through the transcripts, I'm like, I can't believe they did not search. But that's from the military standpoint,
Yeah.
But I mean, look at it from this. You're a principal, you're spiritually, physically, mentally exhausted from there being way more than any one person can handle on your salary.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah. So there's just we just need more support. We need more support at every level for the working man and woman and them. I'll throw that in there too. That'll make some people mad. You're welcome. That's why I'm here, Gavin. I'm here to make people feel things, even if it is absolute, utter disgust, disdain. Get out and vote.
I hear you. Hailey, you have about 40 seconds. I for those who are watching, I put up your site. How can folks continue to follow your campaign, and if they would like to support, how can they support your campaign?
So you can visit my website, pictured here, dollarforva.com. Listed on there are all of my socials. Be prepared. I'm a real person. I'm not, a raccoon in a trench coat pretending to be a politician. I'm me, and I've always been me. So it's interesting, but just know that, let's link up, come and volunteer. Like, that's what we need, your time. Donating money is always great. We know that we'll get out fundraised, but hey, this is going to be fun. This is an adventure, Arrington. We are going on an adventure, and buckle up, Buttercup. There's going to be a lot of surprises. So stay tuned.
Well, Hailey, we would love to have you back to follow up with your journey on this campaign. Again, best of luck to you. If you don't mind, I would love to chop it up with you just for a couple of minutes after this show. But again, thank you so much, and best of luck to your campaign.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and as well, just continue to support great conversation. Be sure to tune in weeknights, available on all digital and streaming platforms. I will talk to you soon. Peace and blessings. Stay safe out there. And guess what? Stay informed. You better stay informed. Please stay informed, y'all. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.